small segment of the problem. I'd like to talk about a very small segment of the problem, which I think may be small, but it is, in my view, vital. There are two aspects to this. One is a general aspect, and one is an aspect related to Telangana. The general aspect world over, at least in India, is the distance between the rulers and the ruled. And the distance is basically a physical distance. It is not a psychological, emotional distance. It is a physical distance. People seem to, in this country, need to see their rulers. They need to talk to them. They need to ask them. They need to whatever. The rulers, on the other hand, once they become rulers, really don't want to get into this operation. They want to do whatever they want and get away from it. So historically speaking, this distance has been always there. If you remember in the Mughals, they used to have a bell. All the kings had a bell. You rang the bell and the king would come. Even Ashoka in the inscriptions, let's forget the Mughals. Ashoka in his inscription says that whenever anybody wants to complain, they can come. Even if I am in the harem, ladies thing, I will come and address it. So there was a need, there was a promise. Whether it was actually fulfilled or not is another matter. The point is the distance, the physical distance between the ruler and the ruled is the critical element in good governance. Whether good things happen, bad things happen, that is a different matter. The distance is the critical bit. If you accept that, you look at our parliamentary structure. We have the parliament, which elects a cabinet, or rather approves the cabinet then prime minister. Similarly in the states. Now, it seems to me that this country is ruled by 30 people. 1 prime minister and 29 chief ministers. Their cabinets are there. Ministers have certain responsibilities, but overall, it's the man in the top that counts. The ministers are supposedly responsible to the assembly. The assembly meets occasionally. There are usual garbad. Nothing really happens. The MLAs want their own things. They are not interested in making law, but they are interested in breaking the law to their extent. So you have a parliamentary structure which is not really working as it should be. What was the solution? Our great man, Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao, piloted the 73rd, 74th Amendment and introduced another layer, Panchayat Raj, and said all these functions should be devolved. Who was to nominate these functions? The state governments. Now that everybody knows has been a failure because these functions, funds and functionaries have not been devolved because nobody wants to devolve them. The people who have to devolve them are the people in the assembly, the MLAs, the ministers. Why would they give up power to another tier below them? So it's not working. That at least was intended to bring a level of governance closest to the people. At district level, maybe taluk level. That is not working, as I said, because there is a vested interest in not letting it work. Because once political power has been given and resides in the assembly and the cabinet and the chief minister, it is very difficult to take away that political power and transfer it to a level lower. It is easy to transfer it upwards because there is a constitutional provision for center taking over. Now the GST bill, for example, is nothing but an effort, now successful, to take away financial autonomy from the states and take it to the center. So that centralization will take place between the states and the union. But within the states, you have the same problem. It is not going to work unless we think somewhat innovatively. My view with the creation of Telangana was perhaps we could try a new type of structure, still within the constitutional framework, but aimed at political realities and how to solve the problem of this distance between the ruler and the ruled. The constitution says there shall be a union, there shall be a council of ministers. It does not say that there should be a minister for sales tax, revenue, finance. What was my speculation and suggestion perhaps? What would happen if you had a minister for each district on whom all powers that reside with the chief minister would devolve? He would run all the departments. You transfer all these IAS fellows and IPS fellows and state government people to the districts. You form an advisory council to the minister who has to ratify his decisions before they come to the cabinet. Advisory council consisting of the Panchayat Samiti presidents, the MLAs concerned in the district. The Zilla Parishad chairman can be a deputy chairman of the commission, council. So what you do is you reconcile the problem of devolution of power to the panchayats with the retention of political power with the assembly. You sort of merge them rather than keep them separate. If you keep them separate, they will always be separate. If you merge them, there is some interaction. So anyway, you have a limit, 15% of the MLAs, or total MLAs can be cabinet ministers, not more than 15%. So you have district level ministers, you have maybe 2 or 3 ministers in the state, at the state level to look after finance, law and order, administration. Chief minister can sit in Hyderabad, 3 ministers can sit in Hyderabad, the rest will be in the districts. Now their problem first is to make a district plan of what is to be done. District plan on education, irrigation, whatever, all the sectors. Secondly, get resources, financial resources, get people to implement it and monitor the action. Now, as far as finances are concerned, just like the government of the national government has a finance commission, you can have a state finance commission. You devolve funds to the districts over a 5-year period based on some criteria, which again, finance commission model is there. So they have the money, they have functions, they have functionaries, and they have political power. Now, what this will do to governance, I don't know. It is a speculation. But if you believe, as everybody seems to believe, throughout history, that if you close the distance between the ruler and the ruled, something good will happen. If that is the case, then we have to look at these 2 possibilities. One is the traditional possibility of transferring funds, functions and functionaries to the Zilla Parishad and Panchayat Raj, which, as I said, has been going on for the last 25 years, nothing has happened. Or to merge these 2, the second tier and the third tier, functionally, not constitutionally, not legally, but functionally, into one. I think a large part of the problems that we are going to hear and we have heard can be resolved, or at least a hearing can be given by this type of structure. As it is, nobody is going to come to Hyderabad, nobody is going to get into the secretariat, hardly get into the CM's office to be able to present his case. And the way the governance is structured in this country, unless the CM or the Prime Minister takes action, nothing is going to be done. Generally speaking. I'm not saying this is totally the case, but overwhelmingly the case. CM Saab, the files are going from the minister who has the power and responsibility to decide. He won't decide. He sends the files there. The files lie there. So people are not even taking the responsibility that the law and the constitution gives them. Because of a certain fear, perhaps, respect, I don't know. This one-man show, which is a phenomenon in this country, and it's not recent, it's been going on for a long time. I mean, the only 2 people I know to a large extent, Nehru, but Nehru conceded and he was halfway. a dictator but an amiable man. Sometimes he reversed his position. But since the time of Indira Gandhi, you have had nothing but a centralization of power and fixed to a person, not so much the party. Because the parties are not also democratic. No, you don't have, there is not a single party which has had intra-party elections. No candidate for assembly or parliament is elected by a constituency party. Is there a constituency party? There is supposed to be a constituency party. Nominations don't come from constituency parties. So your whole parliamentary structure doesn't work as it should work. There should be parties, there should be memberships, there should be collection of membership fees, there has to be constituency parties, there has to be internal party elections, the candidates have to be nominated by the constituency parties. This is how it works, classically. That doesn't work. So what do? We can't throw away the system, we tried that. It doesn't work, it makes it worse. So we have a very poor structure, and the need is to make it work within the political realities that we are in. And very few chief ministers or prime ministers want to surrender power. But by surrendering power also you surrender responsibility. So if you don't surrender power, then all the responsibility comes on you. Everybody will blame the chief minister or the prime minister. Whether it's right or wrong is not the point. The point is he's taken the full responsibility, so he has to take, full power, therefore he takes responsibility. Power comes with responsibility. It doesn't, you can't divide it up, no? So, if you want closer governance, whether a person goes to Hyderabad or he goes to the district headquarters and now incidentally come to Telangana, you have now an announcement of 24 districts. Now, whatever people may think about it, I think it's a good thing because it makes the unit smaller. So if there are any problems and any issues that a person needs to be decided at district level, the distance, physical distance is small. Yes, the expenditure will go up, there will be more collectors, there will be more functionaries. Fair enough, that's part of the cost. Now, combined with these 24 districts, if you decentralize and say, okay, you have your district plan, you have district funding, you perform and you report to the cabinet or report to the assembly what you are doing on a quarterly basis, whatever it is. You have some new approach within the constitutional and legal structure. Again, this is a new state, everybody says that. The new states of Uttarakhand, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh are 13 years old, 16 years old. They still haven't stabilized. I'm not saying Telangana will take another 16 years. Here you have an advantage which is also a disadvantage. You have a ruling party which has full majority, which means it can ignore any opposition. It also means that it has full majorities because it has swallowed a lot of the other parties. So there is an internal issue. Within the party there are people who have come out of the TRS, people who have come out of TDP, people who have come out of the communists, whatever. So you are running a internal, it's not a single, let's put it like this, it's not a party that any longer has a single agenda. This party had a single, only one agenda, nothing else. Telangana. Okay, at election time they produced an election manifesto. From what I can gather, large part of the election manifesto is translated into budget allocations, which is a good thing. Now the question is, what are these budget allocations? Are they being released? Is there any performance taking place? If there are old age pensions to be given, are all the old age people getting it? There is no mechanism at district level or village level or any level to find out how many old people there are, whether they are eligible, get them to sign an application, get it processed. Who is to do that? The government governs even at the lowest level. But the citizens are not citizens. That de jure citizens, the constitution says they're citizens, but they behave like subjects. And to behave like citizens, you need some wherewithal, you need lively confidence in yourself, you need literacy, you need education, you are able to say boo to the government. None of us will go into a police station without somebody making a telephone call, frankly speaking. Or if we do go in, he'll look at our clothes and whatnot and say, what do you want? Otherwise, dressed like an ordinary farmer, you're not going to get away with it. So there is still that distance, the physical distance between ruler and ruler. And ruler can be the SI, can be the MRO. That distance has to be closed physically. It also has to be closed mentally. When the people in the governing classes feel that they are servants of the people. Now we've been hammering this for 60, 70, 60 years, but it hasn't worked. Any one of us who is made a minister tomorrow or a collector tomorrow will behave like a minister and a collector behaves today. Now, first 1 week we will receive everybody. Work will not be going on. People will be coming in from all our relations and friends, and then at one stage you will tell the PA, bhai, roko usko. So, the need for people to physically meet the rulers is a very, very Indian feeling. Whether he gets it done or not, ఆయన చెవులో పడేసినాము కాగితం చేతిలోకి ఇచ్చినాము వస్తుందేమో it is hope. Now, how do you sort this problem out? Why would a chief minister who is in control of a party, in control of a whole state, want to do it? He would only want to do it if he wants a quiet time. Devolve everything, sit at home. More or less he is doing the same thing. I think it fits this particular situation. And anyway, for major projects which cover more than one district, Hyderabad and this chief minister will have to decide if you're going to lay a road from Karimnagar to wherever, to Adilabad. Obviously, it's not going to be decided by the district chief. They will have to consult it, but certainly decisions will be taken at the or you finance policy, budget policy, taxation. All this will be decided at that level. Big projects will be decided at a higher level. But 70 to 80% of the work, or maybe 80 to 90% of the work, and 60 to 70% of the money will be spent at the district level. And there we don't have structure. The only structure we have is this collector, who is the chairman of 30 committees. And the tradition has been to appoint young people as collectors, thinking they have energy, but they don't have experience and they don't have respect. We are a traditional society, we respect people who have white hair. I mean, young Vittal can say whatever he likes, it's not going to count. But if Professor Kodanram or me say something, people will say, So, I would say young people should not be made collectors, they should be sitting in Hyderabad. The older people, principal secretaries whose children have gone to America or wherever, no Elli Elladu, send them to be collectors there. They have experience, people, they have patience, people have give them respect because of their age. This is a society that respects age. So what I am saying is political realities and cultural realities have to be taken into account before we articulate or demand things. Certain things that we want or we demand, which may be absolutely necessary, correct, whatever, will not happen because they come against political and cultural realities. We want everybody to be equal. All communities, all castes, you heard him. This is a society that believes in identities, small identities of caste. And if you go away from caste, it's a religious identity. So, either way you are stuck. How many of us have given up our caste and religious identities. Why would we do that? Because in a way it's stripping ourselves of our personality and our identity. What I have learned from my mother and grandmother and father and uncle and whatnot, we give that up. For what? For being an individual to take on the whole state one to one? I don't have the capacity. I need my relations, I need my caste people, I need my people who share the same religions to be able to get my work done, or to protect me, or to give me a sense of being. And that is again the reason for Telangana. No. That these stupid Andhra rulers for 60 years were not able to do that. Not only were they not able to do that, they alienated the population. And what did they gain? Some loot. Is that what it's all about? If that's what it's all about, then it happens. And if today people in Nizamabad or Karimnagar or Warangal dominate Telangana, people in Mahbubnagar and Adilabad and Khammam and wherever will also get the same upset. We are being exploited. Already people are talking North Telangana, South Telangana. Whether it exists or not, that division, we don't know. But divisions can always be made clear and justified if the facts are available. Now you are talking about jobs. How will you appoint people? On what basis? The Constitution says equality. So a fellow from Assam has the same opportunity as a fellow from Khammam. Do you want that? No. We agitated, we got 370 added, 371D. Now 371D is an enabling provision. It enables you to violate the Constitution. But it doesn't say you can discriminate again on basis of religion or caste. Of residence. Residence requirements have to be specified. Which are the cadres, which are the areas. Where is your presidential order? You don't have a presidential order. The Article 371 says the state may approach the president for an order. Yesterday, I got a copy of a letter from the GAD saying there is no presidential. But we'll go ahead. We'll go and appoint people. How will you appoint people? That High Court, that judge will not take 15 minutes to strike you down. So the government has to apply to the Home Ministry, to the President, to the Home Ministry, saying these are our requirements, these are the guidelines, these are the residence qualifications, these are the cadres, and please issue the order so that we can go ahead with appointments into jobs, with allocation of seats for 2 years. The whole thing has been done because nobody is protesting. The Andhra people have a presidential order because 1975 presidential order says Andhra Pradesh. 1975 presidential order doesn't say Telangana. Therefore, it does not apply to us. అది వర్తించదు మనం. అది కొట్టుకొని 2 ఏళ్ల నుంచి చెప్తా అంటే ఏమైతే లేదు. How can it apply to both states? Please read the presidential order. Does it say Telangana anywhere?
No, that was for Andhra Pradesh only.
That's it. That's
Same
it.
is extended to Telangana also.
How can it apply?
No, they mentioned.
How can it apply, Andy?
The act only says.
In 75 there is no Telangana. There is no reference to Telangana. There is reference to zones. You want to use the Andhra Pradesh order to allocate employees and allocate seats. What kind of government are you? Then why did you ask for 371D? You kept quiet. Why was Telangana added into 371D? To enable you to get an order. If you didn't need the order, they wouldn't have added it. Existing order will do. Existing laws will do. We have 300 laws in Andhra Pradesh combined. At that time, 2 years ago, set up a committee, one retired High Court judge, retired Chief Justice, retired Supreme Court judge, we have one of each. Let him spend 1 month, sort it out, which are the laws relevant to Telangana, what are required, make recommendations to the cabinet and then issue. What have they done? Ad hoc, they have done it over 2 years. And the last day, June 1st, they visit the Gazette notification. 177 acts have been adopted in the last day. 75 were adopted in the last few years and another 75 were rejected. Out of the 77 that we have adopted is Padmavati University, Dravidian University Act. What have we got to do with Padmavati University, Dravidian University? AP Minor Ports Act. We don't have a coastline, we don't have ports. So there is a problem in the nature of the administration. Part of the problem is a personality problem. That you have a party that is almost monolithic. Within the party you have a group which is running the show. And you don't have people at either principal secretary level or the cabinet level who are going to do their own work. They are all waiting for instructions. Those instructions will not come because they are occupied with something else. Now, presidential order is a matter of the law department or the home meeting. They won't do it. They know it is required. Similarly, these adaptation of laws, last minute they have done it. Some of them are irrelevant. Minor Ports Act, Andhra Pradesh Minor Ports Act is translated in Telangana Minor Ports Act. How is it relevant? Dravidian University Act, we have adopted. So the Dravidian University is under two governments, 2 assemblies, and the wonderful governor is signed. Because the Gazette notification, all these orders are issued under the governor's, and he is governor of two states. And we are looking very silly. Mr. Ramkrishna Reddy will tell you. We go to the High Court, we complain the High Court decisions are going against Telangana. Well, I also complain. But if you look at it, our people are making a mess. You can't issue GOs just like that. There is a constitution. It has to be in compliance with that constitution. Otherwise, in the old days you could issue farmans, fatwas and the rest. But unfortunately or fortunately, we are in a democracy. So, please, I know there is a lot of anger, a lot of hurt, a lot of emotion. Telangana will be Ramarajyam, will be paradise. You know, come on. If you thought that, then I'm afraid you haven't thought well. You hope, yes. Everybody hopes. And that lady selling Makabutta is a little more sensible than you and I.
Yes,
Now, you are all activists, you can't say so. You have to do something, no? But I think on the whole, the pressure has to be at district level. At central level, it won't work. The only 2 elements that can stop the state government acting are the courts and the government of India. I don't think anybody is capable of stopping. And this, unfortunately, is the case all over the country. Can anybody stop Jayalalitha? Or Mamata? Or Akhilesh Yadav? Or our friend in Bombay? It's the nature of politics in India. As I said, we are ruled by 30 people, 1 Prime Minister and Premier and Chief Minister. The rest is all collateral. This is political. I think we are all educated people. Most of you have participated in the agitation. as he says. I haven't. I've only written about it. So I have a distance. Maybe you feel that I'm too distant. Yeah, I accept that. But sometimes it requires somebody to look at it from a distance. You are in the jungle fighting. I am outside the jungle. I see a jungle. Children are jungle mein hai. And why are you surprised that the tiger is coming to swallow you up? It is a jungle. So don't lose heart, but at the same time don't get upset because it depresses you, makes you feel bad, all your sacrifices, all your protests, all the young people looking forward for jobs. No? What was Telangana all about? Jobs, water and funds. Water. Anybody any complaint? Contractor dinta anta androllu neello se savagadu. Funds, you have stopped the leakage. Udyoga. And frankly speaking, let us be very clear. The government is not in a position to fund jobs in the public sector. All over the country, the public sector is collapsing, withdrawing. The fact that you have RTC itself, you can be very happy. That RTC in Andhra is going to close. As it is running at loss, he'll sell it out to those bus operators in Kakinada. We have Singareni. It's a profitable company. It's the engine of growth for 4 districts. Khammam, Adilabad, Karimnagar and Warangal. Khammam, sorry, not Karimnagar. Now that can do a lot of work as part of their outreach, if you like. They spend huge amounts of money on schools, on their own hospitals. Spin it out into a foundation, get some money from center, get some money from here. Let them do work in those 4 districts. Let them take over these public services in those districts. Because everybody knows our schools don't work, government schools don't work, hospitals don't work, and we don't know what to do with it. Now you want to employ more teachers, more doctors, more nurses, more helpers, to do what? Nothing. So unless you change the structure, these boys will go and do the same thing that the previous fellows did. So, the jobs are in the private sector. The jobs are in technology. The jobs are in Bombay, in Sholapur, in Gulf, in America. The jobs that you have in Telangana are very few. They are in the government. And government public sector. That public sector has not even been divided up to now. Because the Andhra people don't want it divided. So we don't have control of our public sector. We don't know what to do with it because we don't have it. The other institutions, 140 institutions, this is subject to court and all that tamasha is for you. So a large part of the government has been frozen. What you have is only the main government structure, revenue, education, and that. And you have Singareni. Apart from that, you don't have anything. So, to sum up, very briefly, difficult situation for anybody. But this government tends to make it a little more difficult because they don't apply their mind. An application of mind is necessary for everything, for everybody, within your family, within relationship to your wife, children, as well as to society. If you don't apply your mind, you don't, why should anybody bother about it? Emotion can carry you up to a point. And it does sometimes. I mean, 631 people committed suicide. What did it? Not by application of mind, but by emotion. And I keep saying, what has happened to those people? Only the other day they have released the orders now. Actually, somebody has to go and check against that 631. Have they been? Mr. Panduranga Reddy, DP Reddy here published a booklet. Does those orders that have been issued match that booklet? Are there any missing? Are there any fraudulent ones? That's also possible. Who is to do? One can raise questions, but in the end, who is to bell the cat? Basically. Thank you.
Thank you.